Today's challenge is £500 for a 2k point army. We're going to spend try and spend the full £500 budget. This is on GWRRP prices, so most of the time could be seen as a £400 budget because you get 20% off in other places. Never pay GW prices, ever. Because they don't sponsor me yet. So, you know, go to Element Games, Wayland Games, Firestorm Games, any sort of games. Your local hobby store probably still does it cheaper, even if they're like only a 10% cheaper. You know, support your local hobby stores as well. But never pay GW prices. Yeah, unless it's an online only, and then just free to print it instead. No. Go to Etsy instead. We're going to start with the Xenos faction. So, started off with Eldari. I don't like painting that much, so this is real cool. I don't know if it works. I know at one point taking 2 Wraith Knights was very good. So we're going to take 2 Wraith Knights. So that's 1,020 points for 190 quid. We're also, you know, like, that's not quite enough big things, so we're also going to take the Avatar of Cain. That's 335 points for £65. Then we're going to take one of the combat patrols, so we've got a Farseer, 10 Guardians, a Wraith Lord and 6 Wind Riders. And then, just to make up the last set of points, we're going to take 3 Shining Spears, and that takes us to 1,990 points without enhancements. I don't know, there might be a 10 point enhancement that you can take. And that's for £390, so that's £100 under budget so far. So with that leftovers, we're going to take some fun things to play around with. So we're going to take one of the tanks, build that however you like. We're going to take 5 Wraith Blades for £37.50, and just because I do like the big things, we're also going to take the Avatar of Yanid, the God of the Dead one, instead of Ibrahim. No, that's the emissary, and that brings us to a total of £497.50. Yeah, I think just because, you know, you've got 2 Wraith Knights, you just got to take them. You've got to take the Wraith Knights. They're big, they look cool. Rule of cool wins, especially because I have no idea how to play the game really. But I have heard that they are good. So that's my Eldari list.
So for my Eldari list, it started off with good old combat patrol, because it's good for points. To do the 2,000 points for £500, you need to be averaging 4 points a pound. I tried to do my own theme of what I think of when I think of the army.
Wraith Knights.
So
I think of Wraith Knights.
I think of the bikes. My first one I've got, I've done the combat patrol, which obviously has the far side of the Wraith Lord, Windrunners, Guardians. And then the next thing I bought was a Spirit Seer, which is pretty cheap. Again, it's pretty good for points value. Then I kind of committed more towards the bikes. 2 Warlock Skyrunners, a second combat patrol,
sure,
and then a Crimson Hunter. So we've got more of the, and then we've got our winged
Autarch.
You've seen that?
Yeah.
£18 for 115.
Is he 18 quid?
He's 18 quid. To round out my list, I went for an Avatar of Wrath because I feel like you need
Cain!
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's because there's so many Wraith Lords. Yeah. So I finished my list on £434.50 for 1,980 points. An extra set of, I'm going bikes.
I mean, it's cool. It's cool. It's not quite 2 Wraith Knights and 2 Avatars, but sure.
I like how we started this episode off on a good one.
It's a good faction.
Good faction where you could literally almost buy everything.
Yeah. So Drakari, I've gone with 3 combat patrols to start with because it's their only thing that's good points value to cost wise. You get you're getting 6 tanks from that. It's a lot. It's a lot to paint. I'd want an airbrush if I was doing this, to be honest. 15 Incubi. Incubi are kind of my favourite Drakari units. And like 30 Cabalites, which is just, yeah, they're there. They're going to spend most of the time in boats, so you don't actually have to paint them. They can just be off to the side and be like, they're in the boat! And then, because I really like the Incubi, I'm going to get a Drazar to lead them. And we're going to get 20 Scourges, because they're also really cool. That comes out at 90 quid for 440 points of Scourges. And we're going to get 6 of the bikes, the Reavers. So that's 2 boxes of Reavers. That comes out £55, and that brings us to a nice sort of even total of 2,000 points for 457.50. And I feel that gives like a really good sense of, I mean, so it's mostly kind of Cabalite sort of style. I guess the Scourges are their own, and the Reavers are witch cults, but I feel like they could vibe as a Cabal, and I kind of wanted to stick to the sort of that side over the other side. I have £42.50 left, but I decided to get a Talos. I feel like it'd be quite cool for just doing some conversions and other bits. Yeah, like a lot of spare pits, and they're quite cool. I think they've got special rules in the game, and normally people run like 9 of them or something. So I've got 1 because you can't feasibly, affordably run 9 unless you're made of the bucks. What sort of kinky elves have you gone for, Nathan?
I hate you so much sometimes. Right, so I've got, I went for similar start to you. I went for 2 combat patrols. They are good for value for this challenge. Remember, 400 points to £100 is a good starting point. You need 4 points per pound, and they are above that by a fair amount.
What's the boats?
The best bit of Chikara.
It is good.
A full taste of what you want in an army.
Yeah.
If you're going to go Chikari, what do you think of boats?
I think a load of like dudes hanging off boats basically. Yeah. I mean, especially like, you know, in that Cabal, I think it's like got that Cabal down, because I know the Incubi technically aren't Cabal, but they feel very Cabal, and then obviously the Cabalites are very Cabal. And you've got like so much stuff there, and you can even sort of, a lot of people do it where they use the guys that are hanging off the boats and they use those as separate squads, which you could do. I feel like it'd be quite cool to actually build them onto the boat and just have them, because, you know, with the value of that box, I feel like you don't really need to.
With the rest of my units in Eldari, I think of more planes. So I got 3 Venoms.
Yes.
I got two Razor Wings.
Yeah, you've gone for zippy again.
Yeah, zippy again. You tell what I like playing. God, I can't wait to show you my white scars list. So the rest of my list was, I put in 3 lots of Scourges because I think they look cool. So yeah, I think they look cool. And then I kind of rounded out my list with the list for Succubus and Talos.
Yeah.
I think that they were just like the Succubus and the Talos were really bad points per pound, but like I had it left over for combat patrols mainly. It was kind of okay. Yeah. And so yeah, it's £484.50p. So you can buy the index cards with it if you want to.
Oh, fantastic!
An exact 2,000 points.
I mean, mine might change with the new mandrakes. I don't know. I feel I want to have a look at doing like a homunculus coven one, but unfortunately, I feel like it'd just be way too expensive for this sort of thing. But I do like the idea of them, like them making all these kind of sick twisted machines and things. Would be quite a cool one to go down. But I think with the cost of the Talos and Kronos,
the 2 easiest lists.
Is that the 2 easiest? No, well, because there's another one that's even easier, but probably the easiest one for those.
But 2 of the nicest. Should
we do a horrible one? Should we talk about the worst one?
And now I'm going to go on a bit of a rant, right?
This is a rant about the Tau.
I am a Tau player, right? He says with only about 1,000 books of Tau.
I'm an avid Tau player with an old battle force from like 2008.
So you look on the GW website and you go, oh, you know, they've just started their new stuff out. Now it's gonna be the Crunk box and all of that. So the first thought I had was, you know, I could go Crew. The Crew hunting pack does not have 400. It has just got about 400 points in 435 points. It's 135 quid. So it's physically impossible to collect enough Crew.
Yeah, it is.
1,600 win list.
Yeah.
You probably looked at it the same, because I know you did. It's per thing just atrocious across the board here for Tau. Like, if you wanted Bars, like pretty standard unit in Tau, like, you know, he's your main character.
Yeah.
He's 40 quid.
He is 40 quid.
70 points.
He's 90. He's 92. But it's still not great.
Like, it's not great. And then like it's just all of them are just around like two to three, which means you don't have much leeway. And also the combat patrol, which I think is getting removed, which is another rant that I'm gonna have.
Yeah, it's
but the combat
just
patrol is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good combat patrol. Like, it gets you exactly what you want. It gets you Fireblades, Ethereal. Well, Ethereal, like, pass, but you can never have enough Fireblades. And you can never have enough Breaches and stuff, so the Ghost Kill is sick, right?
Yeah, just from triple Ghost Kill, right?
It only goes to 400 points.
It's.
But you have no leeway.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And then, so the new one, I've seen their new list, which makes me quite annoyed. They've cut the Ethereal, and they've cut the Ghost Kill and the Stealth Suits. They've put a Devilfish in.
Plain suits. Okay, I found one here that says, according to all specs tactics, the contents of the new combat patrol are a 1 Enforcer commander. So that's quite cool, having a commander battle suit. I do like that. But then, 10 Breaches and 10 Pathfinders, and then 1 Devilfish. Feels a bit...
Like, but the thing is, right, you can't run that as a coherent list, right? You can't have... You don't have anybody to lead any of the squads. You can put one of them in the Devilfish.
But they've started doing that with you look at the new Dark Angels one, and it's like you've got your leader is in Gravis armor, so he can't lead anyone else because no one else is in Gravis armor, and then you've got 3 Blade Guard vets, I don't know if it is, and you've got like 10 regular guys and 5 Hellblasters, and it's like. Stop putting 10 intercessors in everything. Nobody wants more intercessors. We'll get on to that. Nobody wants more intercessors.
Well, like again, there is a problem with the current combat patrol. I'm going to call it the current combat patrol because we can't see the one yet.
Yeah.
But the current combat patrol does not have any of what you're buying into town for. The Drakari has the both. The Eldari has pipes. If you're buying into town, you are doing it for one thing. Playing suit. But yeah, so rant over. I managed to just about make a list that I'm happy with. So I've gone for 2 combat patrols.
Mine might not work.
Piece for 400 points.
Yeah.
I've then gone for 3 boxes of crisis suits because they just about break even. But this is a disclaimer: they're changing crisis suits.
They're changing.
In less points.
No.
They're changing crisis. So at the moment we use what's currently available on the Warhammer app.
Yeah.
Other
which is like
things.
200 points per 3.
Points per 3. If you actually look at it on the other stuff, they're running at 165 points or 175 points.
Oh
I'm
no.
going to pretend that's happening.
We're gonna stay with this because it's impossible otherwise.
It's literally impossible.
Because crisis suits are like the best value, aren't they? Is that right? It's not quite.
Crisis suits are the second best value
After the combat patrol, yeah.
So I've got. I think you'll have the same list as me because this is the only way I can figure it out. So now that I've got. This is £390, and I thought I still want to have something different, and that's just not crisis suits. Because also I don't have a leader for any crisis suits in here. They're just blobs of crisis suits.
They are just big blobs of crisis suits.
So the only way that I can make it near 2,000, but also I'm kind of happy that I figured it out. By Storm Surge.
Yeah, so yeah, we might have the same list. What have you got then?
Yeah, I've got a Storm Surge. So
See,
I've got 2 combat patrols,
yeah.
3 crisis suits, and a Storm Surge.
Yeah.
We have the same list because it's physically impossible
So
to do any.
that was my rule obeying list. I broke the rules for rule of cool for another one. So this one goes £40 over.
Right.
It's exactly the same, but I take a Farsight instead, and I don't use the Ethereals because you can't use Ethereals and Farsight together. But that was just because I wanted someone to lead my crisis battles. But I could, yeah. So should we go for a fun one? Should we go for orcs?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
so.
Well, you're gonna look like this.
You're gonna want my list. It's gonna be the same list again. Orcs. What is the best cost to points model for orcs, Nathan?
It's obviously gas.
It's not Gaz.
Oh no, it's
There's
not.
one that's quite a bit better. there's the Orc Stomper, which is 800 points for £85. So we're gonna take one of those because as my brother's shown a lot, it works. He went to a 1,500 point game with 2,000 points and had to ditch 500 points of his army, and he couldn't ditch the Stomper because it's 800 points. So he had to take an 800 point Stomper, which is more than half his 1,500 point army, and he won the tournament. Like, it can work if you learn to play orcs. You can play as an 800 point Stomper. So we're gonna take the 800 point Stomper. Rule of Cool says so, and its Rule of Value also says so. So we're gonna take that, and then like the other thing that helped him win that game was Morrog Scragbad. Who's just like an absolute beast. He's 195 points for £35. So that's let's see, that's our 1,000 points there, and then we need to sort of make up the rest of it. So we're gonna get 2 of the combat patrols. This is so that we can also mix. So the combat patrols comes with like the weird orcs, where it's got 5 of them with the sort of the melee option and 5 of them with the gun options, and this way we can have, you know, proper squads of those. Oh, actually so we've got like 40 boys there. We've got 2 war bosses in mech suits. We've got 2 Death Dreads. No, not 2 Death Dread. Yeah, 2 Death Dreads. 6 Death Copters. And then how much are we off by now? That's so we're almost there. We've got 40 points left. We're gonna take some Gretchen. And then Rule of Cool kind of says that we should, you know, just make as much Gretchen as possible. James will approve of this list. So we're going to take 3 Met Guns. That's £105. And we're going to take 4 squads of Gretchen. So we've got an extra, so that's 3 lots of 7 Gretchen from the Met Guns, which is 21. And then we've got an extra 40 from the Gretchen. So we've got an extra 61 Gretchen there. And that brings us to £490 for 60 Gretchen. No, more than 60 Gretchen, because we've got the original lot as well. We've got 71 Gretchen, £490. Oh no, and there's Gretchen on, there's the 2 that are on the War Boss and Mech Suit. I'm sure there might be some that are dotted in there, and there's some on the Stomper as well. So we're maybe 80, maybe more than 80 Gretchen for £500. Totally good. But yeah, no, and then you spend every other paycheck on buying Gretchen after that. But yeah, and then just covering the Stomper and more Gretchen. But that's what you need to do for orcs. You just need to get a Stomper and Gretchen. But yeah, with those 2, just literally 2,000 points for orcs is 120 quid. So you could do it at if you took 2 Stompers, you know, you could have a list at 200 quid. But yeah, no, you go, Nathan. What do your orcs look like?
So I went for a different strain of orc. I found it really difficult in some areas. Some orcs were extremely good for value, and some were just not. So I went similar to you in terms of I took Mosrock, but I thought, you know what I really like? I really like Squigs. So I've got Mosrock. 2 beast bosses on Squig. Squig. Right?
So you've got three of those kits basically.
3 of those kits.
Fantastic.
Then I've gone for 3 lots of Squig Hawk boys.
Yes.
Right. I continued down this train for a bit. So then I got some Snagger boys because they looked like they would have fun with Squigs. They
would, yes.
So I bought Gaz because
Gaz is pretty good.
It's he's almost 250 for 45 quid.
He's pretty 259 for that. Yeah, I think he used to be 400 points as well, and then they reduced his cost and they made him infantry and other stuff. But yeah, he used to be 400 points as well.
He's so useful. And I've got a group of tank busters because I thought they looked cool.
And they've got a bomb squig.
Exactly, bomb squig. I've got a big in mech because the big in mech has 3 in mechs which all count as individual units. comes out as £42 for 225 points, which is nuts.
Nuts,
Right?
man.
That's the same as Gaz used. So it's nuts. And then I thought, you do need some like infantry as well. So I bought 2 lots of orc knobs.
Some orc knobs.
One Gretchen to round out perfectly to 2,000.
And then you gotta get the Gretchen. Well, they're like £12.50 or something, aren't they?
They're
£15 now. They keep going up. They used to be like £8 or something.
Yeah, inflation in it. But yeah, I was really happy with this list. I didn't include the combat patrol on it.
You didn't? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a faction I haven't included the combat patrol for. And that's our next faction. We're going to talk about Tyranids. My new passion. I've got 2 Tyranid forces. Neither of them finished, but I've got the starts to 2 Tyranid armies. The best way to well, I don't know if it's the best way to budget, but what is the best model in the Tyranid range? It is the Norn Emissary or the Norn Simulator. So we're gonna get 3 of the Norn Emissaries. That's 825 points for £210. We're gonna get 3 of the Norn Assimilators. So that's 870 points for £210. So we got six Norns. And like the battlefields usually got between 5 and 6 objectives, so you just have a Norn on an objective each. And then it's like, what else is sort of really kind of high value for money? Well, it's the Swarm Lord. It's 270 points for £37.50. It's a big dude, right? We're going for big dudes here. It's probably going to be terrible. It's going to be trash, but you're going to have fun. You're going to have fun. I promise you, you're going to have fun. And then I think we've got 35 points left over. So we're going to do like a big waste of money. We're going to spend £30 on a Pyrovore for that 35 points. And these are just going to sit at the back and flamethrower at anyone that tries to get on your objective. So that comes to 2,000 points for £487.50.
So I started off my list with very similar to as I've always done, combat patrol. And then I bought more Von Ryan Leapers because I just think they're cool.
They are cool.
I bought 2 lots of formal gaunts because I feel like, again, like it's what I associate with Tyranids is lots of different types of bugs.
Lots of bugs.
Running at me extremely fast. And I then went for a Death Leaper. So again, these are under budget things, but because you have such good budget savers,
yes,
I'm going to call them.
You can then balance out.
Hive Tyrant, Death Leaper, then I've gone Tyranofex and Swarm Lord to get my points back up. Same. And then to finish off my list, I went for nobody plays the Heartbeat, and I think it's quite a cool idea. So I bought a Heartbeat, and it's also decent points per pound. To round it off, I felt like I had to an ass man, a Norn ass.
You got a Norn ass man, the Assimilator.
Yeah, a Norn ass.
That's good. That was good. It's good. At least you got 1 Norn. I don't have to fully disown you. Yeah. But if you wanted to do Necronids for £500, you can't. But yeah, can we do? You wanted to do Votan Lex because it's very easy to do Votan. There's so many options because they've got a whole model range of like 3 different units.
I'll start. I'll start to that. I've got 2 combat patrols building the named character in 2 different ways.
Yeah.
So Carl the Destined and Carl. I'll be identical to you. Then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 half guard. And then topped it off with a land fortress.
I like that list, but I feel like it's just not quite. It's not quite on my level. So what I've gone for, I've only gone for 1 combat patrol because its points per value is still not that fantastic. No, wait, never mind. I've gone with 4 combat patrols. And I've gone with 15 and then 3 boxes of the half guard, and that's how I managed to get my closest to the points and the cost. Onto Genestealer Cults. So I went for 2 Genestealer combat patrols to start with. That gives us 2 Maguses, 1 you could potentially convert, 40 Neophytes, 10 aberrants, 10 hybrids, 2 rock grinders. So you got a lot there. You know, a lot of these points are coming from. You got your 10 aberrants, which are giving you 370 points, and then 40 neophytes. You know, if you can paint 40 neophytes, you know, it's giving you 360 points. And then so that was quite cool. It's one of like the best value combat patrols, I think. Then, I mean, I quite like the kind of the full range between, like, you know, them being kind of basically human to full gene stealers. So to sort of round this out a bit more, I've got a brood coven because I feel like you should have a patriarch with your gene stealer cults. So that comes with the patriarch, the another magus, and a primus. Again, we can kind of like fiddle with these a bit around, and I'll show you how we're going to fiddle with all of these and make them unique. And then we're going to go for an Abominant to lead our 10 aberrants, so we're going to have that as a big squad that just like comes out somewhere and mauls someone to death. Then we're going to go with, I really like the bikes, so we're going to go 2 lots of the bikes, so we're going to 10 jackals and a jackal alphas as well to lead them. And then we're going to go with a box of gene stealers, which is 150 points for £32.50, and you know he can go with like the patriarch. And I like I said, I feel like having the full range of like humans to the full gene stealers really works well on the battlefield, because that's when they kind of like they'll attack, is once they've got their full brood of gene stealers as well. And that speaks GSC to me, and that comes to £386.50 for that 2,000 points. And then one of the things about the other thing that I really like about GSC is that they have all of these characters which just look so good. They're all like a little bit different, and they're all like £19. So for characters that kind of like the cheapest ones in the market. So I've gone for like a Nexus, a Sanctus, a Biphagus, a Killamorph, a Locust, and an Acolyte Icon Ward, and that takes us to £500 and 50p. So technically slightly over, but all of those guys are free. So like, you know, they're over the cost limit, so you can switch with the other things if you want to change, you know, what abilities you give to your squads.
I saw the combat patrol, and I went, that's a really cool combat patrol.
And I bought 5.
I've bought 3 of them.
Yep.
So that takes you straight up to
Glide Prop.
1,875 points.
With just 2 combat patrols. No, 3 combat.
Just 3 combat.
3 combat patrols. Nice.
Right. So I was like, that's a really good idea. So I've done that. And then I thought, you know, let's just round it out. So to round it out, I've gone for a Killamorph for £19.
Yep.
And a Jackal Alphas, because they just look cool, right?
They just look cool.
That actually managed to get me up to my 2,000 points.
Fantastic. So how much you got left?
£381.50. So I have £165 left. So £168.50 left. So what I did was I then bought a Knight of Dominant and then 2 War Dogs. And I decided to call it quits there with my second army partially built.
Brilliant. got half of it. Fantastic. Yeah, well, yeah, you know, nothing speaks GCL cults like the knights that are going to fight them. So if you're going to do Tau, what you need to do is you need to buy 3 combat patrols of Gene Stealer cults.
Right, final faction, Necrons.
Necrons, is that all we've got left for the aliens?
That's all we have left for the Xenos. So I started off...
How many combat patrols?
Just the one.
Just one. 2. Yep, he's got 2. He's got 2.
And then, so I kind of did it so that you could run it as a 5-point army. We just take 1 combat patrol and a royal ward.
Yes.
That brings you directly to 5 points. They give you a good feel.
Sure.
And then for what is the most Necron units that I can think of, right? So I bought a monolith.
You bought a monolith, fantastic.
I bought a monolith. And then I bought Immortan Stormlord. I bought an immortal, a pack of immortals. I decided to just buy the Silent King because he's really good value.
He's alright, isn't he?
He's pretty good value.
He's pretty good. He's 420 points for 100 quid.
To round it out, I've gone for Hexmark Destroyers to get to exactly £500 for 50 points.
Is it
Just the one.
Just the one. Nice. So I've gone. So you've gone with both the Silent King and Imitate the Stormlord, which I don't know if that's very lore friendly, Nathan, because they're actually like the two biggest players in the Necrons, and they kind of don't like each other that much. So I haven't done that. I've just done all of the not all of the big things. I've got two big things. So I've got two of the combat patrols to start with, and on top of that, I got a Royal Court for £75. It was at one point like £9. The Warhammer magazine, the Indomitus magazine. So if you can find those, get those. But I got the Royal Court, so it's £75. And you get a Scorpet Lord, 2 Crypto Thralls, a Plasmancer, and a Reanimator in that. So it's not too bad a value for that. And then, so your Crypto Thralls you can like attach to like those things, and they're all quite good. And the Scorpet Lord can obviously lead my Scorpex. And then I've got two big things. So then we go for the Void Dragon and the Silent King. Just because I like the big cool models and they look nice. And then to finish off my 2,000 points, I get 2 Locust Heavy Destroyers, which is less good value, but I've done a fair bit of value before then. Closing thoughts. Obviously, check eBay for a lot of these things. So a lot of your Necrons and your Tyrannid stuff, you can get a lot cheaper on eBay at the moment, with them being like the last 2 adversaries of like the Space Marines and starter packs and things. So always check those. Never, like we said, never buy GW RRP sort of prices. Go to local hobby stores. Check out like the big secondary retailers online. If you actually know how to play the game, tell us what we got horrifically wrong. Like, oh my god, you should never ever run Gene Stealers or something. They're actually terrible, and we'll say no, shut up. Stay tuned for the next one. We've been Singularity Forge. Thank you and good night. Please like and subscribe. I'm poor, and Warhammer's expensive.